Portugal. There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
Well, hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, the podcast and the Portugal Club, of course, where you can share in the love of Portugal, despite all the political shenanigans that are going on at the moment around immigration. It's still a fabulous place to be. I've just been working on, the idea for my next Portugal resident article, perhaps. My guest this morning is a fellow resident writer. Yeah, an idea maybe, could we have a Wizard of Oz style setting with Dorothy asking, I don't think we're in Portugal anymore, Toto. We shall see. Let's find out what Paul Rees thinks about that. Let's give him a nice big round of applause and welcome him to the show. Are we still in Portugal?
Bon dia. Bon dia. No, I'm not. I'm in the United Kingdom at the moment.
So you're not in Kansas or Portugal. You're in His Majesty's United Kingdom.
I'm in 15 degrees, not 35, whatever it is there today. So
it's still we have this lovely sort of moderating effect of the Atlantic here on the Silver Coast. But I was in the city yesterday, Paul. I was in Estoril, home of James Bond, of course. I don't know if when you see the Palacio, the Hotel Palacio, the music and the cars and the pretty girls come into your mind. Do you know of this place?
This is where Ian Fleming.
It's said to have had his inspiration, right?
Yeah, indeed, indeed.
Yes.
It's famous. It's not a place I visit that often. I'm
not
a huge Bond fan, but
are you not? Right, okay.
I think Fleming was certainly an interesting, if flawed, character.
Wasn't he just? I think he gave us Chitty Chitty Bang Bang as well, did he not?
He did various other things, but I mean,
Yes.
Concentrated mainly on himself, I think, throughout life.
Right. I must do more research, clearly. Okay, sounds very interesting. Well, thank you for being here this morning, despite being in a far-flung corner of Europe. How are you? How are things going?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I had to come over to the UK at short notice, so it's at short notice and a vast temperature drop. So
right.
Completely inadequately clothed, of course.
Dispensed with the shorts and flip-flops and presumably
indeed.
Put your woolen suit back on. I was writing about being of a certain age in the resident and thinking of our grandfather's generation, who would have thought the idea of wearing shorts and trainers was for convicts or conscripts or little boys, right? Do you remember them? They had their chair, they had their suit, one pair of shoes probably. We're very different, aren't we?
Always a collar and tie. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and if informal, maybe the collar off the shirt. Yeah.
My dad used to wear a tie around the house.
Did he really?
Yeah. Until he moved to Portugal. But yeah, I mean, Sunday lunches were always collar and tie jacket.
Right. Okay, look at us both. We've got collared shirts on. We're not slouching and giving way to the rather boyish t-shirt look. That can be the expat uniform. Very good to see you this morning. Can we go, before we talk about Central Portugal and your marvellous properties therein, the controversy, the furore around, I'm whipping it up a bit as you can hear, the immigration politics of the moment. I'm sure you've got a brilliant view on this.
Well, you're whipping it up like all the politicians are.
Okay.
Well, maybe not all of them. Shaga certainly sees a wide open door.
Mm.
And the current administration is it's an own goal, really. Not all of their making, but yeah, I mean, from 2017, there was 6 years of unfettered access to Portugal, whether they had a visa or not.
Yep.
And immigrants had to work a year and pay social security for a year, and then they're on the track to get citizenship in 5 years. So hence, there was no problem filling the porter cabins full of people working on the fruit farms in the Alentejo, especially Odemira area, especially where it's intense red fruit production.
Right. You'll have seen this happening firsthand, presumably, because you're not far from there.
No, I mean, it's away from me, but I spend a lot of time in Alentejo, southwest of Santa Clara, around there, where it is dominated by certain areas. It's dominated by immigrants from Nepal, Pakistan, India, who are fruit picking, which is, but they came in on the expression of interest. A lot of them,
Yes.
I'm expressing an interest, perhaps of dabbling in a bit of work, maybe.
It's a sort of thing that might be said while smoking a pipe, doesn't it? And
yes, dear boy. So that stopped in 23. It was abruptly halted. There's a massive backlog of applications, and then things were tightened up, but it coincided with the SEF, the old border security organization, being scrapped, and those people turned into, what is it, AIM?
IMA now, AIMA, yes.
Which has a massive backlog of applications from all over. It's got all the golden visa backlog as well. And
family reunification, yes, indeed.
Yeah, and the golden visa ones haven't helped because they're fairly litigious as a group in that they're better heeled.
Yes.
So the government was getting dozens of court proceedings every day, which really doesn't help the process of this new organisation. So it's a complete muddle, really. It's Portugal, for people looking to get into Europe, Portugal is clearly the best place to apply.
It was called the back door, wasn't it? The back door.
No, it's difficult because the successive governments have correctly identified that the country needs workers. So it encourages immigration. Immigration and workers are not the same thing, because immigrants that come here through a legal route and then get citizenship, then obviously have access to the rest of Europe.
Yeah.
The rest of the European Union.
Yes.
And
yes, there is a difference. There is a difference.
Yeah.
Still.
Slightly to be clear on that. And then we'll go off and join their cousin in Dusseldorf or their brother in Paris.
Not London anymore. No,
not London.
Of course not. Right.
So this country loses those that are perhaps best able, who, if they're sticking to the law and don't just disappear anyway, go and drive an Uber in Oslo. It is difficulty. So the government, the taxpayer here has been paying basically for this enormous, badly working machine to legalize people who then leave anyway.
Yes.
And you could say it's the same with the university system and the nursing system here. We train people to a good level, and then, of course, they want to work to better themselves wherever the conditions are best.
Yes.
So there's a problem. Whilst that sort of fundamental economy is a low wage economy, it's not attractive for career progression, etc. in many industries. That's what happens. So it's a difficulty. I mean, Portugal has exported its labour for decades. But,
its own, native labour as well as this new system. I call it a system. It's effectively a system, isn't it? You speak. Excellent analysis there, Paul.
And they try and replace it by immigration and investment, trying to make investment in the country better. So there's a lot of foreign money comes into property and into tourism and into basic things like rental properties, alojamento local, which then causes anti-foreign sentiment whipped up by the political party that's not in power and some of their press buddies. So it's a sort of fairly endless cycle. But underlying it really is the type of economy Portugal is. It's a low added value economy. It doesn't have that critical mass really to attract people and keep them. So it relies on bringing them in. I wouldn't say bribing them to bring in, but investment incentives, put it that way, that actually are quite good.
Although they've been dispensed with, it would appear, as well, as part of this great knee-jerk reaction that's called the immigration problem, if you like. And people who want to come and live here and spend money here are finding it less attractive. For the first time, I'm seeing second thoughts among a certain type of person, possibly a North American who'd like to come and live here, and it's all becoming a bit difficult for a mix of reasons, not just the technical legal ones, but emotionally as well. It's like, well, are we going to be welcome there? And these are things I never expect, quite naively perhaps, never expected to happen. But I guess it had to happen at some point, didn't it?
I think so. I mean, a lot of the problems are caused by the politicians, and it's one of the reasons.
Again, yes.
Yeah, but it's policy changes.
Mm.
There may be good policy changes or ones we disagree with, but the constant changing, we've seen it with Golden Visa, the constant changing of the rules. It's, if you read something that was written 6 months ago, you need to check that it's still current. It's really annoying for people wanting to settle and establish a business here or come here and enjoy their retirement.
Yeah,
they have to check what the current rules are, and then then they're relying on lawyers who may or may not be up to date. It's that side of it is really annoying, let alone big businesses looking at major investments, and seems to be changes every 6 months.
Yeah,
and that's extremely irritating. I mean, that's the sort of Italian model where the government changes every year. It's that lack of underlying stability, because the politicians, the next group get in because they disagree with the current one. So of course they're going to change things, but it is annoying.
And blame everything that's not working on the previous administration.
On the last slide, you can do that for a year. That's it. After that, it's a week excuse. Yeah,
it's a bit like going to the barber, isn't it? So, like, my God, who cut your hair? Well, it was you actually.
Yeah,
because they forgot, and this is what politicians can find themselves facing now. Actually, it was you the last time you were sat in that seat in the Parliament along with your colleagues there. Yeah. Any solution focused insights? Stability, I suppose, it would be a key word.
Yeah, stability, and it's more resourcing. They need to clear the inordinate backlog of applications. That needs doing. It's no good introducing technological solutions on scheduling appointments when the appointments are sort of 3 years down the road. And the government has put more money into it, but if they're successful, then they won't need so many people. So I think by their very nature, they're having to redeploy people from within the ranks of the government.
Yes.
Anyway, it's not the sort of thing that can be outsourced, I suspect. The backlog needs clearing, and then fair, coherent rules need to be set in place. And then almost all parties should agree that should be it for the next 10 years. Then there's some stability.
Yes, let's lock it down. Yeah,
rather than being tweaked every change of government.
Well, people are tiring of it, aren't they? And these moving. They're not even deadlines. It went from an extension to June for people's residency renewals now to October. And cynical politicians and their speechwriters are probably just saying, well, put task force in, put AI in, so whatever else, and I'll read that out. But certainly we need to get beyond this kicking it down the road, because we've got to the end of the road, it feels like, doesn't it, with all the results of what's gone on since, as you say, 2017.
Yeah, I think end of the road's a brick wall. They're just kicking the ball up against it. And then
an excellent analogy, right?
But they say, we're spending another 6 million on staff and this, that. Now, the staff all went on strike because half of them were getting massive overtime payments for working their socks off.
Yes.
And the newbies coming in were not trained in the right way. It was just a mess. The handover actually was appalling from SEF onwards. I mean, it just it felt like nobody had been consulted.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm sure the rank and file hadn't been consulted on. They were just sent a new uniform, I think, which they probably had to pay for.
And very demotivating.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it was very poor management. I mean, that's a distinct project. It should not be difficult to get everybody around. If the purpose was right and it was a coherent development and it would provide a better service, and it's not difficult to get people on side.
Yes.
But they seem to alienate the very people that they needed cooperation from. So that's
Absolutely.
yeah.
And going back to Dorothy, are we still in Portugal, Toto? I think I always like to balance these sorts of discussions with we still enjoy an incredible culture and quality of life beyond the political realm and the mess that's being made by politicians. We do find ourselves. In fact, I had a great comment on our YouTube channel. Some of them aren't so great. One that I've just seen has come in this morning. Go home, you trashy scammers. That's not the one I'm referring to. I'm referring to the one somebody was held up at the airport, but has had a lovely time. They said something along the lines of, "We had such a beautiful time in your lovely country," and that's the truth of it. The culture it's such a fabulous place to be, and it's a terrible shame that this sort of political and quite thin veneer on top of it is causing such an outcry and difficulty for in people's actual lives, right? It is causing suffering and pain for people.
Yeah, it is for the ones that are coming in and trying to establish themselves, and
Yes,
it is difficult for those of us that are within the system and know how it works. Life is good.
yes, absolutely.
The fundamentals of Portugal remain the same. It's just this scrabbling around and getting it consistently wrong in terms of AMI and appointments and visas and all this nonsense. It is sortable. It's not a fundamental problem.
Yes,
It's a resourcing and training and problem created by the politicians who create policies. But I do think the 6 years unfettered immigration it's a bit like what do they say, throwing mud at the wall and seeing what sticks. Is it letting everybody in and hoping a few stay behind?
It's not the best. It's not going to go down in Immigration Weekly, is it? It's not going to get an award at the International Immigration Awards as a strategy.
I can see the point. Yeah, if you're living in poor conditions and cleaning hotel rooms for Pestana, earning 800 a month, you could earn 3,800 a month doing the same in Luxembourg. So I can see why people want to move onwards and upwards and do their time dutifully. These aren't scammers. These are people who genuinely want a new and better life. They've uprooted themselves several thousand miles from.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
And it's funny. People say, "Oh, a lot of them are young males." Well, they're the ones that are sent by the families.
Yes.
To go off and earn money because they're the most able. So there's genuine reasons for people doing this. Europe has relied on immigration for I don't know how many hundreds of years, but it's part of what happens. It's an interesting scenario, and Portugal has been getting it politically wrong, but fundamentally it's a great place. And as for your people wondering whether they'll be welcome, of course they'll be welcome. If they've got the right attitude, they'll be welcome. If they're arrogant gits, of course they won't be.
Quite rightly too. Quite rightly.
They wouldn't be welcome anywhere.
Yes. But they probably wouldn't even notice.
Yeah, I don't expect the red carpet to be rolled out. But, if you want to experience and be calm and absorb and actually see and feel how a new culture fits, then, it's good. Good.
Thank you.
Very different to neighbouring Spain, that is massive in terms of tourism. A lot more Americans have been to Spain.
Yes.
Portugal is very, very different in a number of pleasing ways.
Thank you for your balanced analysis. Perhaps to conclude, I remember I used to go swimming in the morning in a period of my life, and there were some older chaps there, ex-servicemen, one of them a naval man, who said, and I think we were probably talking about politics then, this, I don't know, 20 years ago or something. And he said, yes, you can't keep changing your mind. We have a saying in the Navy: order, counter order, disorder. And that's where we're at, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They're not quite counter orders. They're just violent changes in direction.
Shouting random things out.
It is. I can see the chief engineer down below getting a series how to stand, how to port, full ahead. For God's sake.
Make your mind up, Governor. All right, skipper.
Look into neutral and see the man.
Yes. Excellent. Okay, maybe we should talk about property as well. Thank you very much for that. I knew you'd have something useful and interesting and ultimately inspiring to say there. So thank you for that, Paul. We have the continuing adventure of Adelina, do we not? It's turning into a beautiful book or even a film.
Oh, darling Adelina.
Yes, here we go.
Probably my favourite house. We've just done the floors. It's pretty much finished now, actually.
Right, okay.
So Adelina's this little, it's a townhouse in Pedrogal Pequeno, Serta camera, where I just did a video a few days ago as a record for myself on the flooring.
It's
But
beautiful.
the rooms are now presentable. The bathroom.
Look, some very nice detailing here, Paul.
It's just being finished. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, look at that. Yeah.
It's a sort of mini bathroom. Yeah, that profile. I'm pointing at a profile, saying that's still waiting for its strip.
Okay.
But really,
These
Adelina
are not your final carpets. That's a protective
no,
layer.
they're not the final carpets. No. But Adelina, really, the joy is this first floor lounge that was, I think, 4 or 5 rooms, and because we took the roof off, we just opened it to the full.
Oh, beautiful.
The full height. So that's a really nice lounge area. It's got central heating.
I do like your rads. Your rads have got a nice retro look about them.
Yeah, they are. They're antique style.
Right.
They're actually made by Rocker, but they're an antique style, which I purchased Segunda Mao in Toledo, actually.
Right.
So that's the Adelina's bathroom. This actually was a little nursing room.
What would she think? What would she think? That's why it would make such a good movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, her nephew, from whom I bought the house, he lives locally. So it'd been really interesting for him to.
Oh, my word. Yes. I
have a
wonder
look.
if he's happy to be videoed seeing it.
Yeah.
And his auntie, the nurse of the village, of
She
course.
was the local nurse. So
Yes.
everybody knew her.
Yes.
This was a lounge earlier. So it's now a 3 ensuite with a terrace overlooking the square.
Yep.
That's another little room there which has got a bathroom. So it's really pretty much a completely new house inside.
Incredible. Great work.
So it's totally remodeled, centrally heated, rewired, everything. And whilst we've been doing it, obviously prices have been going up. The last thing I need to do is set a price for it. I'll put it on the market next week.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I would have done this week, but I had to travel overseas. So yeah, you can see it's got the radiators. It's got that lovely mirror that has got one button for a light and one for the anti-steam function.
Is that right? When one is shaving, one is untroubled by condensation.
Yeah, it's
Very
good.
Excellent.
Good stuff.
Have you enjoyed shopping for this project?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Then there's we just need to connect. Well, they'll be connected now because this was taken last week. The heat pump needs connecting to the radiators, and then the door putting back on. But it's got this little terrace. Which is a very pleasant space.
Chelsea Garden in the sky.
Yeah, exactly. And it overlooks the quiet square.
Yes.
Pedro Pequeno is on the N2, Route 66 of Portugal. So
it's a great location. And there's a lovely market there. Sunday market at Pedro Pequeno, right?
That road is down below, so you don't hear it so much. You're up in the quiet square. So it's,
how lovely.
Yeah, there's a little sink area.
I do like that sink as well. That's going to be lovely.
Yeah, it came from a farmhouse where it was just lying around. So
very, very good. Very, very good.
That's Adelina. Yeah, done with much love and care. It's got beautiful wooden floors now. We spent a lot of time on matching the colour of the doors to the original wooden shutters, to the skirting board, to the everything else. So it now looks coherent and the right colour, and just waiting for the type of buyer that will appreciate a three ensuite in a historic zone. It is a registered historic zone.
It's not going to be on the market for very long.
I hope not. I'd love to be able to pick and choose, who we sell it to, but that's taking it a step too far as a developer.
I think you will. I think you'll have a lot of choice, and you'll be almost having Adelina whispering in your ear saying, yes, these are the people.
Well, it would be nice.
Wouldn't
It's
it,
funny. I was up the graveyard the other day,
having a chat?
where she lies
Yes.
next to two very important what do they call those things? Jazigu, the big
Tombs.
tombs with bones
Yeah.
in. There's the two important ones. One of which the road she's in is named after Casimirio Freire, who was
really?
an educationalist, and the other is the Vidigal tomb. Vidigal being the big local family, actually, in whose family home we are now selling on behalf of the great
that was
great
the
grandchildren.
the incredible manor house.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But they're all up there, and there lies the little nurse. In between the great and the good, there lies Adelina, who probably did more or as much locally by safely delivering children and looking after people
in homes. Yes, indeed.
Probably did as much in her own quiet way. So I feel a great empathy towards her and her lifetime achievement.
Yes, and the legacy. I think you've played a very sensitive and honourable part in that, and I hope the owners of that beautiful home that you've renovated will do the same. I suspect they will. I suspect you'll find great people, and the history. I mean, it is a movie. It is a movie. You, and you know, maybe Adelina talking across the centuries there in CGI.
Yeah, definitely. And she has relations. There's one I'm in touch with in Brazil, and the one locally who's a bit more grumpy, but he's accessible at least. But what I have noticed is, as his house has continued, apart from the immediate neighbours getting fed up with noise and stuff, is the elders of the village, especially the older women, have been very encouraging, because they can now see the outside looks perfect. It's beautifully painted and it's got guttering and it's never looked better. And I now see them as they walk to Paula's shop. They stop and look. I catch them. I'm looking out the window. If I'm cleaning the window or something, I'll see they stop and look. And because they remember her. But they also remember the state the house was in.
Yes.
From when Adelina died 24 years ago now. And nobody set foot in it. And the roof was falling in. It would just become another ruin. Like the Pedro Pequena's original hospital. It's a pile of rubble.
It's a shame, isn't it? And you must feel a sense of vindication almost as you see their acknowledgement and approval.
Yeah, and it's tacit and it's calm and it's long in coming, but it is there, and that helps. I have another project a couple 100 meters from Adelina, and people are starting to ask about that now. When will that one be finished? And
really, that must feel wonderful. Well done on that.
It's interesting that you move. It's like, I remember in the UK, I moved to a new village, population 700. Within 2 or 3 days, everybody knew who I was. And I didn't know anyone.
Yes.
The bloke in the post office,
Yes. Who said, "You're the new guy," as you walked in, presumably.
You're the new boy. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Incredible. And I've got Emma Thompson possibly in the role of Adelina. Who would you like to play you? Liam Neeson? I don't know. Who would you imagine playing your part in the movie?
Oh, goodness me. That's such a good question.
Yes.
Who would play me? I mean, it wouldn't be somebody as daft as Hugh Grant.
With a rom-com sort of feel to it.
You could do a rom-com around it, and
Richard
I could
Curtis.
Adelina's granddaughter. But no, I don't know. Liam Neeson. No, I was just watching his new movie last night. He's a bit.
He could be you.
Dark. He's a bit dark, actually. He's a bit.
It would be. It was like when Russell Crowe did the Provence film.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
that's definitely one of my favorites.
Yes, and it would be Liam Neeson's change from the norm, possibly. You know him as a fighting. I know where you live. I will hunt.
Oh, I see. So you want somebody to gently melt and become.
I think so.
climatized.
It'll be Liam Neeson's Russell Crowe moment, if you see what I mean, when he softens up in
Yeah,
Europe.
the Russell Crowe one was good. Very similar to Local Hero, of course, from the 80s.
Yes, indeed.
Which
Wow.
is-
Okay. This is a goer. So any Hollywood agents who are watching and are captivated by this idea,
Yeah.
do get in touch. Carl Munson at the Good Morning Portugal show, and Paul and I can fly out to Hollywood and talk it through. With
Yeah,
you.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay, we're available.
West
Paul,
Coast.
fantastic. Excellent. Quick look at the website. Any other featured highlights that you want to share? I mean, of course, Adelina is the star of the show at the moment. Anything else?
Yeah, Adeline, our third-party properties that we're selling for other people
Okay.
Are still we have the convent up in Moimenta de Beira,
Right.
Viseu, which is sort of north central region.
Yeah.
We've got a new YouTube channel that people might want to look at. That's me saying what Rural Properties does.
Yes.
The bits areas it's involved in, but there's also videos on all our third-party properties, which is
very good. Very good.
Which is good. And they're good videos. You know, they're full of information. They say as much as a listing on Idealista would say, and more, because you get a nice aerial shot of everything. So I encourage people to look on our YouTube channel.
You are bringing something special to this whole business of you used the word dilapidated there. You're renovating central Portugal in a sense, and bringing a wonderful ethic to that work, as people are seeing now, the villagers and foreigners alike who come to the website, rural-properties, and see what you're all about over there. Final word to you then, as I think we've reached the height of summer. The days are getting shorter again now, Paul. Should I not be saying stuff like this at the moment?
No.
Okay, so
it never feels right. I know it's halfway through the year.
Yeah.
But the light, the days are getting shorter, but I ignore that until you don't really feel it till September anyway.
Right, and then you might get a San Martino summer, a late one.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. But it is, from a practical point of view, our guys can work longer hours. I mean, they do get paid for them, but they're putting a roof on the old albergueria in Pedro Grande at the moment, and they're working long hours just to get that done.
Yes, and it's probably not until 9:30 or 10 that they're clinking a Sagres Mini to celebrate another successful working day.
Indeed. Yeah, they're good lads, actually. They're not allowed to drink in the day, but they can hit the bar in the evening. If they do a particularly long shift, there could be a chicken dinner in it as well.
Oh, very, very good. Okay, excellent conditions, which I'm sure will have other craftsmen wanting to be part of the Rural Properties team. A chicken dinner and a Sagres Mini to conclude the day, maybe on a Friday. Fantastic, Paul. Go well, and I look forward to your Rees report for August. It'll be August when we speak again next. So go well, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you so much. We're going to give you a big round of applause today. Ciao, ciao. Enjoy.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show